Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, should the Las Vegas Raiders consider signing free agent quarterback Ryan Tannehill? I'll give you my answer on this. Who surprised ESPN this offseason? They're going to talk about one player in particular from the Silver and Black that really made their eyes pop. And then at the end of today's show, could the Raiders target Bears running back Khalil Herbert? I'll tell you why we're talking about the guy from Chicago. Here's the thing, though. We're in a June sub battle against the 49ers report, and they are kicking our ass. Literally yesterday, they got close to 300 subs in one video. I know it's a big ask, but unless we get 300 subs today, I don't think that we're going to be able to catch them. And I don't want to lose to the 49ers report. So if you want to help me out, help out the Raiders report, help out the nation, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications because I don't want you to miss any Raiders news or rumors, and I don't want to lose to the Bang Bang Gang. So here we go. Coming up, I got 3 stories on tap for all of y'all. And if you enjoyed the Just Win Babies, this is the Just Win Baby episode. Should the Las Vegas Raiders consider signing Ryan Tannehill? I'm going to give this one 0 Just Win Babies. And I'm going to say tuck rule, tuck that. Now, Sanjit's my guy. And I think he's one of the best Raiders content creators in the biz. And when it's the offseason, it's a little bit slow. So I was checking out his YouTube channel, and I saw that he recommended that the Raiders should consider signing free agent quarterback Ryan Tannehill. He also broke down 4 other free agents that the Raiders should sign. If you want to go check out that video, I'll always recommend it. Sanjit's dropping a lot of good content. But just because Sanjit's my guy doesn't mean that we can't disagree. Friends disagree. Family disagrees. It's okay. You just got to be able to talk about it. But I do totally disagree with the idea of going out and signing Tannehill because to me, if the Raiders were interested in Tannehill, they would have signed him instead of signing Gardner Minshew, which Sanjit does note in his video, and I got to give him credit for that. But at the same time, if you're bringing in Tannehill, that means then you're going to have a quarterback battle between Ryan Tannehill, Gardner Minshew, and Aidan O'Connell. And, to me, signing Tannehill doesn't do anything for the Raiders. I don't think it makes them better. I don't really think it makes them worse. It's kind of just a loss of money in cap space. It kind of reminds me of when I go to Target with Alex and she looks at something and she goes, wow, we should get that. Sure, we can add it to our living room, but do we need it in our living room? The answer a lot of the times is no. And a lot of times it's just a little bit of a waste of money. So for Ryan Tannehill, I get it. It's an extra body. It's probably going to create more quarterback competition, but you know what? We don't need Ryan Tannehill, therefore the Raiders should not go out and try to sign him. But you know what? I want y'all to call the shots. And the nation, especially the people that are watching this video in June, I do actually really care what you guys have to say. So give me a yes or give me a no. Should the Raiders sign Ryan Tannehill? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. And after this YouTube ad break, I'm going to continue to break down why the Raiders should not sign Ryan Tannehill. So, to me, he's not an upgrade over Gardner Minshew or Aidan O'Connell. And, you guys have kind of heard me talk about how much I don't really think this Raiders quarterback room is very good. I would rather have Aidan O'Connell start on his current contract than Ryan Tannehill. I would rather have Gardner Minshew for 2 years, $25 million start over Ryan Tannehill because here's the thing. I actually think that Tannehill ends up getting more money or would want more money than what Minshew would want. And I'm not going to go out there and I'm not going to do that. On top of that, 3 quarterbacks learning a new offense, 3 quarterbacks learning the Luke Getsy offense takes away from the QBs, so whoever's going to be that starter. Every single snap that you give to another QB that's not the starter takes away from the starter. That's something that I don't want to see. On top of that, we also got to look at the offensive line, the running backs, the wide receivers, the tight ends, from top to bottom. I want the starters to start to get a little bit of a chemistry, to get a little bit of a rapport with maybe that's Aidan, maybe it's Gardner Minshew. The more and more QBs you add to this equation, I think you just make it a lot more complicated. And if there was one thing that would just drive me nuts with Bo Hardigree, Mick Lombardi, Josh McDaniels was they always overcomplicated the simple. I don't want to do that. I think by adding Tannehill, you have 3 quarterbacks, but to me, you're just overcomplicating an issue, and you're making an issue an even bigger issue. So should the Raiders sign Ryan Tannehill? Sanjit, I love you, my brother, but my answer to this one is a big old fat no. Coming up next here on the show, find out which Raiders player surprised ESPN. ESPN released an article just breaking down one player from each team that surprised ESPN's beat reporters. I'll tell you who that is in just a second. Also, you know who I was surprised by? Chubbies. I was surprised by Chubbies and how awesome their shorts were. I was also surprised on how comfortable their shirts were on top of that. And if you're a guy like me, and I'm not afraid to admit it, I don't skip leg day. In fact, I like my legs a lot. I like to show off my knees. Hell, I like to show off my brand new Raiders tat. So shout out to Chubbies for hooking up Raider Nation, and I want you to go support our sponsors because skies out, thighs out. Enjoy those thighbrations. Chubbies is a lifestyle apparel brand that makes every moment feel like a vacation. And for a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off your order with our exclusive code. Use code CHAT at chubbyshorts.com/chat. I've been wearing their original stretch shorts, and I love how comfortable the elastic waistband is. And they come in 3 different lengths, which I personally really need because I do have really big legs. I sweat a lot. And with that stretch fabric, especially when it's 96 degrees here in Dallas, I don't want to have to get up. And I don't want to have some awkward sweat stains. Chubbies is going to be making sure that I look great, I feel great, and I'm not going to be, rocking disgusting sweat stains on my crotch. Experience unmatched comfort and style with Chubbies' iconic original stretch shorts. Whether you're getting dressed for your workday, a workout, or a weekend getaway, Chubbies has you covered, and for a limited time, Chubbies is giving our viewers 20% off your order with code CHAT at chubbyshorts.com/chat. That's code CHAT at chubbyshorts.com/chat. Support the Raiders support. Tell them that we sent you. Don't blend in with the crowd. Stand out with Chubbies. Someday, I will make sure that I have those abs back. Here we go. Next story coming up here on the show, presented by Chubbies. Who surprised ESPN this offseason? His name, and I'm telling you what, you guys can make fun of me. Lot of smoke around this mother effer right here, Tre Tucker, and I can't wait to see what he does. I called him last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, the secret weapon for this Raiders offense. And then guess what? And, a lot of times when I talk about, there's a lot of smoke around a player, it's usually with a rumor. With the amount of smoke that's been around Tucker, whether it started at minicamp, whether it started at OTAs, it is continuously growing and growing and growing. We know that Tucker is a hell of an athlete, and I think during the offseason program, especially when pads are not on, it does not shock me that Tucker is one of these players that is, opening up a lot of eyeballs. He is maybe in a phone booth, one of the hardest guys the Raiders have to get a hand on. He's just slippery, the acceleration, he's quick, the speed, it's going to show up on tape. But again, if you're not really getting hit, you're not really getting tackled, this is kind of where Tucker can really accelerate and really dominate. His ability on kick returns, punt returns, as a wide receiver, as a gadget player, it's going to be used, and he's going to be a very fun weapon in a Luke Getsy offense. In fact, I talked about this, and ESPN's also talking about it, what Antonio Pierce had to say on the wide receiver. Don't look at the size. Don't mention that. Watch him play. He's the biggest guy out there. He had a hell of an offseason. Everything that we talked about working on, he took that to another level. And you could see the look in his eye of confident player, of a guy that's just going to constantly get better. He's pushing. And I'm going to push you all to go check out this video, Raiders Secret Weapon, where I break down why I think Tucker is going to be the silver and black secret weapon. I'll tell you how many yards he's going to have, a full breakdown. If you want to check out this video, it's going to be in the description and comments on the video that you're watching now. And if you can't find it there, I'm also going to put it right here for all y'all watching on YouTube. Click that button. Let's go to the next story here on the show. Could the Las Vegas Raiders target Chicago Bears running back Khalil Herbert? And this one's kind of an interesting one. I am only going to give it one just win, baby, just because Khalil Herbert is still a member of the Chicago Bears, and he might end up getting cut. He might not. I will say it could be a potential coin flip. But if the Raiders do show interest, that's going to be eye-popping. If the Chicago Bears do end up cutting their running back, I also think it's going to be a little bit eye-popping. So I saw an article, or technically Chuggs saw an article, Bleacher Report titled it, 5 cut candidates who should be on every NFL team's radar. And Chuggs showed me the article, and he goes, do you think that the Raiders would be interested in signing Khalil Herbert if he ends up getting released by the Chicago Bears? And I thought about it, and I was like, honestly, I could paint a picture. I could create a show around why the Raiders would show interest in Khalil Herbert. That doesn't mean that they're going to. That doesn't mean that they want to. It just means to me, if Herbert was released, I could see why the Raiders would be potentially be interested. And the reason is, Bears signed DeAndre Swift this offseason. So right now as it stands, Herbert's the RB2. However, Chicago also drafted Roschon Johnson out of Texas in the 4th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. So if you consider the fact that, all right, they're looking at Herbert, he's on the final year of his deal, right? Final year of his deal. What if they want to potentially look to move on from him and get more work to a younger guy in Roschon Johnson because that's the future? So if they end up cutting him, I think it's interesting because you look at the Raiders running back room, and let's be honest, it's a weak running back room. On top of that, he's got 2 years of experience in the Getsy offense, and over the past 2 seasons, battled some injury concerns, but in 2022, 5.7 yards per carry. Last season, 4.6 yards per carry. Getting ready to enter his 4th year in the NFL. Herbert also was doing these numbers behind one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. I do think we have a better offensive line. I think we have better skill position players than what he's seen. Yes, having a running quarterback like Justin Fields does actually really improve a running back's numbers, but the Raiders' running back room is not a good running back room. And I have confidence that they can achieve good things, but at the end of the day, this is the group that I ranked as probably the worst group that the Raiders have from top to bottom. Zamir White, I'm hoping, can be a top 20 running back. Then you're hoping Alexander Mattison can just be a top 40 back. Yeah, I hope Dylan Laube can take a step forward. I'm hoping Amir Abdullah can be a reliable kick return back, but do I think Khalil Herbert would help out this backfield? Yes. In fact, I think he's better than Alexander Mattison. I think right now, as we have seen, he probably would be somebody that you would rely on more than a Dylan Laube, though I want Laube to get his opportunities. And Khalil Herbert's better than Amir Abdullah. So here's my question to you. Should the Raiders go out and get Khalil Herbert if the Chicago Bears cut him? It's not going to be for a lot of money. There's been a lot of reports out there, a lot of rumblings that the Bears could end up making this move. So type S for sign. Or would you type your P for pass? You be the GM, you be Tom Telesco. The way that I look at this question, and usually I'm asking y'all to type S for sign, P for pass, I'm kind of leaning to both of these. However, I am leaning towards the fact that they should pass on him more than what they should sign him. However, I can make a show right now. 5 reasons why the Raiders should sign Khalil Herbert if he's cut. I can also make a show right now based on 5 reasons why the Raiders shouldn't sign Khalil Herbert if he was end up getting cut. To me, the reason why you should do it if he ended up getting released is because the Raiders' running back room is weak, and I do think adding more competition is never a bad thing. I also think that at the end of the day, if you can make your team better, Khalil Herbert and that running back room would make that room better. He knows the Getsy system, so being able to teach maybe some of these younger guys on our roster some of the ins and outs, that could help. Also, wide zone schemes do require depth. So when you go back and you look at the way that this running offensive line is going to maneuver, it's going to be very similar to the way that the 49ers running game has been going. It's going to be very similar to the way that the Miami Dolphins run their running game with Mike McDaniel. Again, shouldn't really surprise anybody, Kyle Shanahan. But a lot of times running backs get hurt in that system. It's just running back injuries are hard to predict. However, running back injuries in Kyle Shanahan's style systems, wide zone systems, I almost feel like is a fact that it does happen more often than not because, sometimes offensive linemen, they're moving, they get trapped up with some of these running backs, injuries happen. It does require to have some depth. The reason why I wouldn't do it, even if he ended up getting released, is because the Raiders have bigger needs, right? If the Raiders right now were to sign a running back, I'd be going, why the hell aren't we signing a corner? Why the hell aren't we signing an edge? There's so many other positions that I would have rather allocated that $34.1 million of salary cap space to, which that could be another reason why we could do it. Yeah, we have enough money, but there's so many other needs where Khalil Herbert's down here and I could put 10 other things, 20 other things that we should do above that. It also takes away a little bit from Zamir White and Dylan Laube. I think Zeus proved last season that he's a back that the more and more touches you give him, he's got to get that momentum going. He's got to just find his confidence, find the running lanes, find the holes. And the upside in Zamir, the upside in Dylan Laube, I do think is a little bit better than just bringing in a guy like Khalil Herbert. On top of that, he's not good in pass protection. So the future of the Raiders running back room is you want to see more out of Zamir. I want to see more out of Dylan Laube. And then also with Alexander Mattison, because Herbert would compete with him. Madison is on this team to me because he's the best pass-blocking running back we have. Khalil Herbert's not a better pass-blocking running back than Alexander Mattison. So to me, Herbert would take Madison off the field. Herbert's not good enough to take Zeus off the field, and I want to see Laube in these pass-catching situations. So finding the fit for Herbert would be kind of a strange one. So I hope you all enjoyed today's Raiders Roundup. And again, Sanjit, it's all love, man. I just saw that you dropped the video, and if you want to make a video after something that I talked about, please, I hope any Raiders content creator out there, if you ever see any video that I drop, don't be afraid. Hey, if you want to say it's from Will Pfister, you can do that as well. To stay up to date on all things going on around the silver and black, make sure you subscribe to the Raiders Report here on YouTube, and make sure you give me a follow on social media at Mitchell Renz 365.